We're back with some NOTES. That spells notes. We're in algebra and we're spelling. That's pretty impressive. All right, so today we're going to do something, one of my favorite things. All right, it's going to be underneath this graphing by intercepts and special cases. And what we're going to be doing is the point slope formula. We're using point slope. Let's see how she writes it. Point slope formula. Part 1. All right, point slope formula part 1, probably be about page 45. Page 45. And this point slope, let me tell you about it. It is something that looks really hard, but it is so fun and you guys are really going to like it. All right, so if you turn to page 45 and at the top, go ahead and write point slope formula part 1 and go ahead and write these notes right here. We're going to go through them with you and then we'll get started.
Okay, so since today we're talking about point slope, what they're going to give you in the problem is they're going to give you a point, which is an XY form, and then they're going to give you a slope, which we recognize as m. And we use the point slope formula, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And if you see, I wrote some letters in pink and some in green. The reason I showed two different colors is because you are only going to plug in the green letters. The pink, everything stays. The green is what changes. Once you've plugged in the green, you're just going to distribute and solve for y. So we're going to just do 4 examples, and that is it for today, and you have your worksheet. So we're going to get started, and if you have any questions, pause and ask. Okay, for my first problem, I have the 0.24, and the slope is 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and label this is my x1 and my y1, and slope just stands for m. So now that I know what x1 is, what y1 is, and what m is, I'm going to plug in this formula. We're going to keep y minus, and y1 is 4, equals slope, which is m, is 1/2, times x minus, and x1 is 2. Okay, once you have that plugged in, all you have to do is distribute and get y by itself. So working on the right side, you're going to take a half and multiply it by x, which is 1/2 x. And then you're going to take a half and multiply it by -2. If you need to use your calculator, do so. But half of -2 is -1. And you're going to just bring down y minus 4 equals. Now I have one more step. In my next step, I must get y by itself. So you have to add the 4. And when you add the 4 to the other side, you need to make sure you're adding it to that constant number over there. Don't add it to the variable. So it cancels here and you get y equals that 1/2 x is going to stay the same, and -1 plus 4 is 3. Now, just a real quick check. Make sure that your slope is 1/2, like what the problem said it's going to be. This is your final answer, and you're ready for the next problem. Okay, for the next problem, I have x1, y1. I got -8, -1, and my slope is -3/4. Okay, I'm going to plug this in. Y minus -1 equals, my slope is -3/4 times x minus -8. Okay, now before I begin to solve this problem, I'm going to look because I have double negatives, and distributing double negatives starts to get tricky. So when you see double negatives, I just connect them and make it a plus sign because a double negative is plus anyways. So I'm going to change my double negatives, and now I'm going to distribute. -3/4 times x is -3/4 x. And -3/4 times 8, if you need to use your calculator, do so. And you're just going to open up that fraction and do -3/4 times 8. It'll simplify it for you, and you get -6. Okay, from here, you're going to bring down your y plus 1 equals. And now to get y by itself, you must subtract the 1. Remember, you have to subtract the 1 on the constant over there. So this gives me y equals -3/4 x minus 7, because a -6 and a -1 make -7. Okay, moving to my next problem, 6, -6, 0. That's my x1 and my y1, and my slope is 2/3. Okay, so I'm going to do y minus 0 equals 2/3 times x minus -6. Okay, I don't have a double negative at the beginning, but I do have a double negative at the end, so I'm going to connect and make a plus. And now I'm just going to distribute and solve. 2/3 times x is 2/3 x. and 2/3 times 6. So 2 times 6 is 12, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. And then if you bring down your y minus 0, that minus 0 is doing nothing for you. If you wanted to move the 0 to the other side, it's not going to change. So you can literally just drop the 0, and you have y equals 2/3 x plus 4. And now that it's in y-intercept form, you are done. Okay, my last example, and this is another 0 problem, but the 0 will be in a different spot, so pay attention so you don't get them mixed up. We're going to do y minus -9 equals, my m is 4 times x minus 0. Okay, I'm going to change this double negative. Well, now I distribute. 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 0 is 0. You do not have to put plus 0 if you don't want to, but if y'all want a placeholder, put it. I'm not going to. And you now bring down the y plus 9. To get y by itself, you must subtract the 9. Now, if you notice, when I subtracted it on the other side, I didn't put it underneath 4x because that -9 will not go with 4x. So it cancels here, and I have y equals 4x minus 9. I just bring both pieces down because they don't go together. And then that is your answer. If you have any questions, please let us know.